Happy Sunday, happy Monday, everyone, depending on when you're picking up on this from me. Energy forecast for the week, March 30th, March 31st, and just when I think I tack things down with my platform and I've got it going in a certain direction, it all kind of turns upside down. So right now I'm dealing with tech issues with downloading videos, some modems are being ordered, and I'm having to be here in a new spot, but it's also causing me to have a little bit more room for you to see me a little bit better. And at the same time, Spirit Team, they had me order this t-shirt this last week. They wanted me have this on for videos today and tomorrow. And I thought, oh yeah, that's cute. That's cool. That's cute. I can do that. And so for those of you who don't know, this is an amped up version of Metatron's cube, which when you go look it up, not just in the 2D image, but in the 3D kind of animated circular image. This is one of the foundations of our quantum light field. And I thought it was just random. Spirit Team would have me doing this today. And it's very interesting that they're having me wear this t-shirt. Guess what really big discovery has been coming out globally on the wire? The huge massive formation 2 kilometers down underneath the pyramids in Giza in Egypt. Hello, there's this massive discovery, and I haven't had a chance to really go in and look at it. I looked at it enough to go oh my God, that's legit. There's images, there's legitimate science behind this. What's happened is scientists have discovered, literally unearthed, major formations underneath the pyramids in Egypt that are indicating they are structures they look like energy creation, energy creator formation type power kinds of things. So energy power creation underneath working with the pyramids. So what I find really interesting is this random image, which is Metatron's cube, which images like this image and images like it are carved in the stone in Egypt and the pyramid area. And here this week, this huge discovery about these formations underneath the pyramids that are indicators about how the ancient Egyptians knew, we knew they knew a hell of a lot, but they really knew a hell of a lot more than we knew that we knew that they knew. And what it looks like is these are power conductors, power energy generators kind of things working with the pyramids on the surface. And so now it doesn't seem like such a random thing. The Spirit Team is having me wear, they had me buy and they've got me wearing Metatron's cube to get in front of you at the same time that they're having me talk about this huge discovery underneath the pyramids in Egypt. So if you haven't heard about it, go look it up. Really important. And to me, what I find so interesting is as the world gets tipped more and more on its ear and we're doing these deeper, more intense connections with our consciousness at higher levels, we literally are digging down into the earth and discovering all of these things. The earth is coughing up, showing us, hey, did you know about this? Even at the same time, really ugly stuff is going on as we revisit that really dark space of fascism on the planet, right? So Spirit Team wants me to get in front of you and say that there are some epic, mega things happening on the planet, and being connected in with your true, authentic light power grid in your body. So this Metatron's cube, the Merkaba, this is the foundation of our quantum light field. It spins, it orbits, it literally supports our life and creates our energy. At the same time, some very deep, powerful discoveries are being made underneath the pyramids of Egypt that totally are very connected with this. And to me, this whole thing just says, look, open your eyes. You are powerful. You are a powerful light being in human form, goddess, godlike, goddess-like. You are creating your reality. There's a feeling coming through from spirit world of like, this is a very miraculous time. Do not overlook it. You are sitting in the driver's seat of your own creation, and you have all the power to tip everything in the direction that the collective of humanity really truly wants to go. Like, there's a feeling this week of like, tell people and remind people about their power, their empowerment, their light power. So here I am on a Monday saying, ding dong. Remember, you got a Merkaba, you got a quantum light field Merkaba, you got a Metatron's cube. Go look those up, totally vibe with them. Look up temporary temples and the crop circles where these kinds of things show up. Go look at what's going on with the pyramids in Giza and these scientists, and 2 kilometers down, these really huge coils creating this amazing energy that looked like it was just wah, 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 amping through with the pyramids in Egypt, right? So we live in very interesting times, okay? So that's the start to my energy forecast this week, all right? That all said, a couple of announcements. Group this week is going to be next Saturday, Sunday. I believe that's April 5th, 6th, I think. I have no information up yet. Do not go looking for it. One day is more than likely going to be channeling with the Galactic Federation of Light. I can just kind of feel that's in the air. We need to do another one of those and get connected in, so I'll be doing that. And then the second event is going to be our next step in the magic of somatic money. So if you want to get in on that, get onto my homepage at www.somaticmoney.com, sign into the opt-in. That way you get into my email system and you'll get your announcement there and access through that point. Now in this system, I've got to figure out a way to get this copacetic so you guys can see it and I can talk about it. So I'm going to do snapshot number 1 of the week of March 24th that we are coming out of, so that you can actually see that, okay? And then I'm going to do snapshot number 2 of the week that we are headed into, so that we can actually see that. And then I'm going to bring you back front and center and give you the snapshot on the cards. These are the cards that I pulled for us this week. And if you are brand new to me, just know that I have created my own Somatic Money Oracle deck. This is the first edition. It's got some editing kerfluffles in it. It's currently $59 on my website, www.somaticmoney.com. You can go in and read about these and read about the creation of them and how that worked. I only have 10 more left of these for $59, so you can go in and get that one. The most up-to-date, the most polished, all ready to go. And these basically encompass my entire somatic money system. So this is a great way to get your hands on it and begin to work with the magic of somatic money. So these are the decks that I then pull the cards from right here. Let's go ahead and get started and talk about the meaning of this week. So overall, from what I could tell, moving out of last week into this week, is we do a major energy shift again. So looking in arrears to last week, just think that was like a magnificent transformational energy generator, kind of like one of these things. That's what we just lived through. Kind of having a bit of an energy drop down or an energy hangover over the weekend, especially with the remainder movement of that partial solar eclipse. So as of now, we are officially moved through the current eclipse season. And remember, that's one big reset button that we hit 2 weeks ago, and one big reset button that we hit the last couple of days. So transformational window and eclipse reset, we've pretty much moved it. And now we are going to get dumped into this whole other kind of strange kind of week. And it took me a little while again to figure it out, because like look at the imaging on this. As we come out of really heavy duty traffic, we have a few kind of minor days, and then we are headed into another round of massive, mega astrological traffic, really beginning to hit like Thursday, Friday, but really Friday over the weekend into the front of that following week. Okay. Now, the overall theme that I can tell you this week, it's like these phrases that keep running through. So I'm just going to give you my word phrases of like what this week might be stacking up depending on what the houses are. And then I'll get into the inside astrological baseball on this. I keep hearing phrases like, don't go throw good money after bad. Don't go making a mountain out of a molehill. If you verbally say something that's off key or off cue, just don't scramble to try and make it better, because the scrambling to try and make it better will probably actually make it worse. So there's this thing going on this week of like, we go to try and correct our mistakes, and that could go really bad for us. Or we really, we try and go in and do something that's good, and it might get turned on its ear. It's like, there's a feeling this week of like, don't double down on the bad stuff. Like, just don't double down on the bad stuff, okay? And again, financially, I really get the feeling of like, sitting on the sidelines financially. I really like, as we keep moving through this, especially as Venus and Mercury complete their retrogrades and turn around on top of Saturn, that's next week, a really big deal. Not a good time to be making big bets, so to speak. And especially this week, it's like, don't put your money down, because then you could easily be like putting more money to follow that. Like it just is not stacking up very well. So the strategy for this week is very much like be present, be aware, and if something goes bad, be with it. Just be with it before you do anything. I mean, there's this feeling of like something doesn't quite line up right. Like, don't go in and wrestle it, because it's just going to make it worse. Like, be with it and just see how it's going to ride out a little bit before you amp into it. And here's why. And let's get into the astrology on this. Oh, and I thought this was really interesting. This was the first card that I pulled on this entire week. It is the imposter syndrome card. And that card indicates that this week, depending on where the planets are sitting in your houses, this week, we're going to have a propensity to feel like in doubt of ourselves, or insecure about ourselves, or an imposter about ourselves. And then from that place, trying to make good action or say good things or do good, like, it doesn't work too well. So again, this is a great week to sit with this, whatever you're feeling insecure about or doubtful. Like, don't amplify that insecurity, but just be with it and just hold space with it, and not put too much forceful effort into it. The second card that came up with this has to do with our coding, our money coding, what we are telling ourselves. So here's the imposter syndrome. What are we telling ourselves about this? These are kind of 1-2 punch cards. All of it's very connected in with our heart chakra. So we are going to be feeling our feels with it this week. We're definitely going to be feeling our feels. And there's an indicator this week of pay attention to what's digital, what's analog. I mean, you're seeing me do this right now. I'm in my digital world, but I'm going to have to kind of lean back into a little bit of analog just to make things work, because my connectivity issues here are not great. And we're working on that right now. So then let me go ahead and take you into the inside baseball on this. And I'm going to put the big snapshot up on the screen so you can see it now. I will not be able to point with my pen, so we're going to read off of the dates. So as you can see, the back end of the week, we are coming through Neptune, moving into Aries on Sunday. We are really going to feel that oomph in our intuitive, our oomph in our spiritual, our oomph in our soul level alignment kind of things. And depending on what house Aries is for you, and Neptune coming in is really going to amplify that for you. So really pay attention. And if you want to know more about it, go watch my forecast from last week. Okay, so we are coming in on a Monday with not so much going on. We just get a teeny tiny little bit of a reprieve, probably Monday, Tuesday. And I'm also going to flash up here and look back at last week. I want you to look at the very top row, the yellow, that's the solar activity. Look at how much solar activity we had last week. We had CMEs and G2s and solar winds and X1. So the sun began to weigh in again. Schumann's and the pink on the 24th and 25th, we had quite a bit of Schumann's. I have not checked it the last couple of days, so I'm not certain, but Schumann's had been weighing in. So headed into this week on the 31st, keep tabs on that solar and Schumann's, but the front end of the week, Monday, Tuesday, we should have just a little bit of a reprieve. And that's when the next wave of the larger drama, astrological drama, is going to begin to happen. And I want you to go all the way over to Saturday, Sunday, April 5th, 6th, and those little chicken scratches I've got on the edge of the calendar. So not this week, but next week, we have another major astrological drama piece happening. Venus retrograde coming back across the line out of Aries into Pisces, and Mercury retrograde coming back out of Aries into Pisces. They've been moving in tandem, like pretty much lockstep with one another. And now that they've moved across that Aries-Piscean line, they're headed directly for Saturn. They're on a crash course with Saturn. So Saturn's moving forward. Mercury and Venus are in retrograde, and they're all going to meet up at Saturn and do a conjunct. But they're not even, but they're going to do more than that, because Mercury begins to go direct and Venus is going to begin to go direct. So it's like Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde are going to sit on Saturn in a conjunct and churn like, and so I think that is of note, because we will begin to feel that middle of this week into the weekend. So another huge transformational place. And that's going to be happening at the front end of the second week of April. So what do you need to be paying attention to here with this week, March 31st through April the 6th? I want you to look at the first three layers that I've got here. Mars, sextile Uranus, Saturn, sextile Uranus, and then Mars trine Saturn. These three astrological configurations, I believe, are playing off of one another. When I first started stacking this up with the charting, I was like, holy cow, because here's the deal, and let me put up some of my notes here. So Mars sextiling Uranus, that's a period of unleashing creative energy, embracing change, and fostering a sense of innovation and freedom, particularly with home, family, and emotional expression, right? Because Mars is in Cancer, little friction, little action, little argument, like Mars is wanting to do something. Well, guess what? Uranus, that's the surprise element, people. Uranus and Taurus is like lightning bolt to the ground. Hey, let's make something happen. Let's do a surprise here. Okay, so that's Mars sextiling Uranus, but then we've got a Saturn in Pisces also sextiling Uranus and Taurus. Okay, so they're beginning to play off one another. So this is time for grounded, practical innovation and shift in perspective, where long-term goals and stability are combined with a desire for change and freedom. There's the change again. So we got Uranus weighing in with practicality and taskmaster. And then we've also got Uranus weighing in with Mars and Cancer home, wanting to move forward. So this has surprises and forward motion and some eruption, but we're also wanting to be grounded, like freedom, but we're also wanting to be grounded and practice. So it's like push-pull. But we're not done yet, because Mars in Cancer is trining Saturn in Pisces. So that's a time to work on setting healthier boundaries, focusing on spiritual growth, and truly taking care of your emotional well-being. So when I looked at this, the overall feeling that I got was like, oh my God, like the Mars sextile Uranus, Saturn sextile Uranus, Mars trine Saturn, like this has a whole start ignition to it, because it's saying, hey, I want to move forward and take action and do surprising things. But at the same time, I want to be practical, and I may have my ass handed to me, and there might be a taskmaster in there with it. And so do you see like there's like a push-pull. It's not a clear one-directional energy. And the feeling that I got from that was like, oh, this is where there might be a little bit of like implosion. And so that's where words like impugn, inane, inept, implode, like this whole swirling to move forward that might just kind of go and that, my friends, is throwing good money after bad and trying to solve a mistake and just making it worse. And I mean, you see the gist of it. That's those three configurations lining up there. But we're not done, right? We're not done here, because take a look at the lower half of the chart. The Lilith quincunxing Neptune, now in Aries, girls gone wild. And then you've got your North Node in Pisces. That's your destiny conjuncting Venus, which is reviewing, also in Pisces. And that basically is a time for releasing past relationship patterns, embracing intuition, and seeking deeper emotional connections, while also potentially confronting relationship illusions and evaluating your values. So think about it this way. You've got the top part of my chart here is basically like an eruption gone sideways. And then underneath that, you've got, a little bit of wanting to go crazy. And then underneath that, you've got like this whole review thing going on. I mean, talk about a swirl of different energies this week. It really is. But then, not to be outdone, the North Node conjuncting Venus retrograde, of course, because Mercury's right there, the North Node is also going to conjunct Mercury. So we've got logistics review, communications review. Like, how is this all going to stack up logistically? I mean, it's kind of a kerfluffle of a week. Let's just put it this way. You will be able to do much more just staying in place, being, experiencing, and seeing if things can sort themselves out just by being with them and letting the magnetics of stuff sort their own selves out. Like, I really do get the feeling of like, you put your hand in that and try and make it happen, you're going to get an explosion. And that's your Mars Uranus, and then getting your ass handed to you with Saturn. But then Venus and Mercury are going to want to sit there and inspect their navels and go, oh, we need to review this. Like, that's insanity. So that's the flavor of this week. And keep in mind, this is going to build and build and build as Venus retrograde conjuncts with Mercury retrograde, conjuncts with Saturn, all in Pisces. And at one point, they're just going to sit there and churn for a little bit before they go direct back into Aries. And that all happens the second week of April. So we've got some very interesting landscape to live through this week. And the thing I will leave you with is like, no matter how much you want to impulsively react on the moment, like, this is a great week to just kind of catch yourself in the net and go, wait a minute. Let's just watch and see what's going on here. See how things are going to play out. Okay. All right. So that's what I've got for you this week. Make sure you keep moving forward, walking forward, so you can meet the miracles along the way and get a couple of those symbols going on in your everyday life, just to remind you of that beautiful light field that we are all walking around with on the planet right now. So, I will see you in the next video.